25 psycho experiments with great results, according to Reddit. Number 25. Subjects were tested for introvert versus extrovert personality types. Prediction was that when placed in a sensory deprivation chamber, the introverts would be able to handle it easily, while the extroverts would not. Except, exactly the reverse was found. The introverts became agitated quickly and performed all manner of self-stimulation, whereas the extroverts quickly went to sleep. What the findings showed was that it's introverts who are the sensation seekers, needing stimulation from the outside world. Extroverts create their own internal sensation and protect or project that out to the world. Bing my bong. Bing my bong. I'm gonna need to make the stream chat a little bit bigger if you'll afford me that opportunity. Give me a second. I'm hoping everybody's having an interesting day. I think this is on the wrong setting. There we go. That's better. Here's hoping everybody's having an interesting day. Not too much background feedback coming through. And we'll be good. So we continue up this list of 25 psycho experiments with great results. We arrive at 24. The rule tends to be less ethical, or the less ethical the experiment is, the more interesting. The little Albert experiment. A psychologist conditioned a baby into being scared of white, fluffy things. He deliberately made the baby scared. That's fucked up. You goddamn. I also like this one very much. Scientists replicated 100 recent psychology experiments. More than half of them failed. I think the implication here being that they tried to replicate it, but it didn't work. Oh my god. Let me go into this and see. Estimating the reproducibility of psychological science. Yeah, I think what's being said here is that they tried to do things that went a certain way in the past, and they couldn't replicate it. That's pretty fucked up. Well, sometimes you can't get lightning in a strike twice. Number 23. There was an experiment to measure the dopamine hit your brain takes when eating something that you're craving. The dopamine builds with the anticipation and peaks right as you take the first bite. Then, after the first moment it's in your mouth, the dopamine levels begin to decrease. This showed that many times we are desiring the attainment of the thing more than the thing itself. Well, edit not to proselytize. That's my word of the day. If you'll excuse me. Proselytize, to convert or attempt to convert someone from one religion, belief, or opinion to another. So basically just trying to persuade someone onto your type of thinking. Not to proselytize, but this corresponds somewhat to the Buddhist principle of unsatisfactory desire. It's very interesting. Unsatisfactory desire, huh? So we continue to freaking number 22. Well, the Salmon Study. To test a behavioral procedure in an MRI machine, the experimenters got a dead salmon to use as a dummy. Well, at least it's already dead. They were in shock when they discovered that the MRI was recording increased BOLD response, BOLD standing for blood oxygen level dependent, in the dead salmon when they were running the experiment, suggesting that this dead salmon's brain was somehow reacting to the experiment. Well, can't we get a dead person to react to us, zapping its ass with a shitload of electricity? This led to the findings that the fMRI is not perfect, and we should expect a certain level of false positives, highlighting the importance of retests and tighter statistical analyses. Intriguing. I'm really wondering how I get rid of this ugly ass, welcome to live chat, remember to guard your privacy and abide by your community's guidelines crap on the side. I'm wondering if I even need to include that on the side of the screen, considering if I do this on YouTube, the chat will be there. It will be there. Well, what the hell can I do? Can I refresh this page? It just puts it at the bottom. Delicious. Nothing like YouTube. So we continue up to number 21.
What have you done?
Reconsolidation. When you retrieve a memory from your long-term memory, it is susceptible to being manipulated. This can lead to memories being completely changed from the source. This is why eyewitness accounts cannot be fully seen as true. This knowledge is also being used to help people with PTSD by changing the negative memories that they have of their particular trauma. But I tell you what won't lie. A recording, baby. As we roll up to number 21, unless it's a deep fake, let's not get into it. The phantom limb experiment is pretty fascinating. Basically, you can be tricked into feeling something that's not there. Here's an article about the experiment. Well, let's see how long this article is, because if it's too damn long now, I'm gonna be like, wait a minute. The sensation of having a physical body is not as self-evident as one might think. Let's make that a little bit bigger for the grandpas out here, okay? Almost everyone who has had an arm or a leg amputated experiences a phantom limb, a vivid sensation that the missing limb is still present. A new study by neuroscientists in Sweden shows that it is possible to evoke the illusion of having a phantom phantom hand in non-amputated individuals. Nikki Moore says, happy 2019. Well, soon. Soon indeed, bruh. Soon indeed. I forgot I have my emojis again. Oh, yes. I should change the majority of these. There's a Lisa face on that ass. There's a Lisa face on that ass. As we go back to the original list, we're at 19. It's not that psychopaths lack empathy, but rather they have the manual settings. Specific region of the brain lights up when people experience empathy. For most people, it's an automatic subconscious response, but in a study, there were showings of emotional videos to psychopaths and non while scanning their brains.
Psychopaths and non-psychopaths. That's what they meant.
What if they mean emotional videos and non-emotional videos?
No. Because then I got psychopaths bored.
Emotional videos to psychopaths and non while scanning the brains. The psychopaths would only light the region of the brain when specifically asked to feel for the character, while the control participants would light up automatically. Lame. As we continue to number 18. We should just test psychopaths, like for real. Number 18. If people have the upper hand, they will put others down to keep it. Well, what do you expect? An experiment told a class of kids that having blue eyes meant you were smarter and achieved more. All of the students, or all of a sudden, kids with blue eyes formed their own groups. Things like bullying and exclusion of other eye colors started too. They repeated the experiment with different eye colors in different classes, all with the same result. Yeah. Why do you think Whitey tries so hard to assert dominance on the streets? Out in the streets. Lane NorCal says early stream way nifty. Yeah, I gotta test out YouTube's ball sucking one way or another, you know what I'm talking about? Number 17. If you stare into a dimly lit mirror for 10 plus minutes, you start to see hallucinations. Oh, we gotta try this. Let's put some chairs in the bathroom and a candlelight. If you stare into a dimly lit mirror, like a candlelit mirror for 10 plus minutes, you start to see hallucinations. We'll see about that. What individuals see tends to vary, but they've used this as a test to stimulate or simulate I'm giddy. I want to try it now. Sorry.
We have a full body mirror, so we can definitely just sit in front of it.
Look, yeah. Look, to simulate schizophrenia because some see monsters, some see deformities, just generally weird shit. I did a variation of it for a mate at a university and completely wimped out. Oh. After my face started not looking like my face anymore, I had a complete disassociation. I stopped looking and just waited out the time. You stopped looking.
Some say that if you look into your eyes without blinking, after a couple of minutes, you will see like your face start to like move, or like it just starts changing to the point that you can't even recognize it anymore.
Man, I want to hallucinate like that. Are you joking?
Is this like the?
Are you joking?
Of the ping pong?
Look, we've been able to trip this easily. All we needed was a mirror and a candle. Oh, I'm Lord Swift Universe. Get a load of this, mother. Okay, he says, hey in the stream chat. Hello to you. Hello to Scattercat. Nikki Moore says, I'm trying to get a part-time job at CVS. I wish you all the luck. You deserve whatever you set out for, as long as it ain't hurting anybody. Levitating Hedgehog says, hey Kyle, hey stream, how you doing? Hope your day's going well. Happy imminent new year. All that other basic shit that I'm sure people supposed to say. As we roll up to number 16, there have been some experiments conducted, but the negativity/effect bias is really sad to me. It basically says that the negative things have a greater emotional and psychological toll on our health than the positive/neutral things do. So you got an A on a test, that's great, but you totally fail a test and the world crumbles. And it's a disaster. 100 things can go right and work perfectly throughout the day, but if it goes totally undetected in our minds, then someone cuts us off in traffic and we fume and we rage. I learned about this theory almost 3 years ago, and I think about it all the time, and it reminds me to appreciate and notice the many little things in my day that do go right. See, man, people just need more titties in their life. Otherwise, they're going to start freaking out. You know, I like to think that titties are the positive end of the spectrum, and like it's like the opposite of a mirror, you know, where if you stare into it for too long and with the you know, you have a problem. Hey, look, the Kyle channel does not condone anybody staring into a mirror in a dimly lit room for 10 plus minutes. Don't stay in a dimly lit room unless it's your own. My God. But if you do, let me know what you saw. Just report back to me. Hey, matter of fact, record it. Have a running monologue of what's going on around you. I'm telling you, man, this is the new, hey, yo, 10-minute mirror challenge. That's the new terrible YouTube idea. Someone's gonna kill himself, and then we can't do it. I apologize. It's just a joke, YouTube. I'm sorry. Number 15. Not a psychologist, but the one where they were given a choice between sitting down and doing nothing and shocking themselves. People tend to choose the shock. Ergo, we would choose pain over boredom. Well, some people ain't trying to be bored, homie. Kevin C says, I'm so drunk right now. Yeah, right, my man. If you were really drunk, you'd be donating to this channel. Number 14, the Rosenthal effect. The prejudice and expectations you have towards a student/contestant highly dictates the performance in the long run. Look it up. You look it up. Number 13, Wegner and his white bears. Wait a minute, that's an episode of Black Mirror. The white bears. Essentially, people who were instructed to not think about a white bear found themselves thinking about it more than those actively trying to think about one. The ironic process theory? The white bear problem refers to the psychological process whereby deliberate attempts to surpass certain thoughts, suppress, make them more likely to surface. An example is how when someone is actively trying not to think of a white bear, they may actually... Alright, Richard Starr. Alright. Thank you. All right, an example is how when someone is actively trying not to think of a white bear, they may actually be more likely to imagine one. Try to pose for yourself this task, not to think of a polar bear, and you will see the cursed thing will come to mind every minute. Dostoevsky. Oh, my bing bang. Nikki Moore says a few days ago on Christmas, I bought my sister Noelle and cousin a pocket knife for the holidays. Hopefully they carry it with them and defend themselves from the patriarchy that could get me in trouble. But hey.
You just got back on YouTube.
Whatever. Eva says, wait, is this actually live? The YouTube ban thing is over? No, this is only, imagine like a person drowning, but then like they break the surface and just take a couple of gasps of air. That's all this is. Don't worry about it. Nikki says, I collect pocket knives for fun and for self-defense. Should fasten yourself like some Wolverine claws, and then get back to me with some Snapchats. Let me know what that's like, what you got it looking like. Maybe they can retract, maybe you can get them to actually make like a shink noise. Pretty dope. Cosplay is like Altair, one of the original Assassin's Creed characters. Pretty gay stuff. As we continue up this list of who remembers 25 psychological experiments with great results. This should not be me treating it like a test stream, but it really is. Number 12. I'm getting notifications of really shitty tweets. Aaron and Dutton, 1974. The misattribution of arousal. Men who had just walked across a bridge, either steady or unsteady, were approached by a female psychology. I keep making that mistake. I keep pronouncing the different ones the different ways. But this is just psychology. So men who had just started walking across a bridge were approached by a female psychology student posing to do a project on the effects of exposure to scenic attractions on creative expression. The men had to complete a questionnaire and write a short dramatic story about a picture that she provided, and she gave them her phone number if they had more questions. Men who walked across the shaky bridge were more likely to call her up because they misattributed the arousal from the bridge to the woman. Call me an idiot, but I do not get it. The men had to complete a questionnaire and write a short dramatic story about the picture that she provided. Men who walked across the shaky bridge were more likely to call her because they misattributed the arousal from the bridge to the woman.
Too long. Didn't we watch a horror movie on the first date? What happens if you watch a horror movie on the first date?
The implication here, sweetie, is that, she'll be so scared that she'll want to call your ass up and be like, oh my God, how are you? You're my hero, savior, subliminally, But
Kind of like the Doctor Who argument.
it doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. And I think what this guy means to say is that because of the walking across the shaky bridge, they're more inclined to call her than if they were just walking down a street in safety. Where's the control groups in this? You know what I mean? Because I'm not reading one. This is making me crazy. As we continue up this list, we arrive at number 11. The influence of color red in sports. Judges were shown a video of Taekwondo matches and awarded more points to the red competitor. When the colors were digitally reversed, the judges awarded more points to the other, now red competitor. What the hell? That's not good.
It's true though.
That's terrifying.
That's true.
Someone says red may be a signal of dominance, as reddened skin is associated with higher testosterone. Wearing red may induce intrinsic psychological effects, which increase dominance in addition to altering the perception of others. Researchers found that putting red leg bands on birds increased dominant behavior as they took the lion's share of the food. Y'all see me, niggas? I got the red on, bitch. For my psychology degree dissertation, presented photos of men to be rated on a scale from 0, friendly, to threatening 10. Men received a higher threat score if I photoshopped their t-shirt to be red. But what if you made all the friendly guys black guys? Can I say that? What?
They also say that in a team where one team wears red and the other team wears blue, the team that's red is going to play more aggressively in an impulse versus the blue, which is try to be more strategic and methodical about how they're going to approach whatever it is that they're playing.
Look, I'm going to go further with the black guy thing. Imagine 2 teams, all black guys, all red. Everyone's wearing red. Figure that out, judges. I feel like something's going on in my ear, but nothing is. Could that be a psychological experiment with interesting results? I think not. Hello, Brianna Blake in the stream chat. Hello, Toad the Awesome. He says, hot semen on my legs, boy. You know, that is that's a comment, all right. As we continue up this list, we arrive at number 10. I'm going to start flying through these. Get over it. The car crash experiment. It demonstrated that the way investigators word a question has an immediate effect on the subject's memory of an event. It was part of the suite of studies by Elizabeth Loftus. It began to call into question the veracity of eyewitness accounts. We already read one like this, talking about how easily impressionable people's recollection of things are. Because you're just a human. And if I had a robot here to take unaltered digital footage, oh man. Hey, looks, it's the striped goon herself. Samantha says it's her first live stream. I'm congratulating you. Props on being naked. We can see you right now. Ingram says, my first stream. I love all of your stuff, Kyle. Thank you. Really feel like I'm gonna... Okay, thank God. Sorry, I stifled the hell out of that sneeze. It could have been some scary stuff. Dia says, please watch the caps. Toad the Awesome. He's alright. Especially with amazing comments like that, you know. This guy's gonna start a Minecraft channel, I'm sure about it. So as we continue up to 9, I don't know the name, but apparently 2 people became closer if they survive, you know, a traumatic, yes, duh. It's not even the actual surviving death, but anything that has you on your toes and heart racing like a roller coaster. This was the same bing bong of somebody saying go see a horror movie on your first date. Whatever. Guys, don't manipulate people into being with you by staging outrageous and explosive events occurring around you. I don't care how crazy the friends you have are. Is it really worth it? Just to get some of that nookie so you can take that cookie? All right. Number 8, man. Research on cognitive dissonance. Basically, the idea is that when we have 2 contradictory beliefs, we unconsciously adjust one to make it more compatible with the other. For example, in one experiment, participants were paid less to do one boring task found... Wait, did I skip an entire line? No, the sentence is just outrageously boring. So for example, in one experiment, participants were paid less to do a boring task, found that the task to be more interesting than those who were paid more. What? We unconsciously reason it like this. If I didn't do it for money, then I must have done it because it is interesting. Our minds work like this pretty often. Intriguing. Look, I'm not here to make sense out of half of this. Okay. I feel like us sitting through this list is an experiment in itself. Maybe I should start these at 10 and just read like 3 lists a day or something. Nah, man, but I technically then be a top 10 guy, and I like to pretend that I'm running away from that. Uh-oh. Number 7, research on learned helplessness is fascinating. Researchers would put dogs into shuttle boxes, which are long cage-like structures that have the dog unable to move around. They would shock the dog through the floor on one side of the box. The dog, at first, could easily escape the shock by moving to the other side of the box. Eventually, the researcher adds a wall so that the dog can't escape the shocks. It just sits there, being shocked without escape. Through this, the dog learns helplessness over repeated trials and extended periods of time. Even when the wall is taken down, the dog won't walk to the other side and avoid the shocks anymore. It has become so used to the pain that it doesn't even try to escape. The escape would be easy. The research has been used to explain certain aspects of human behavior, especially related to repeated experiences of abuse, addiction, and poverty. It takes a long time to get somebody out of this mindset, and is possible on one of the reasons why people get stuck in terrible situations. I think it's like sad because, if people are just used to being helpless, then, it'll be what it is. Number 6, if you train a rat to press a lever for cocaine and then put it in a box with only that lever, it will press that lever as much as you'll allow it. The rat will stop eating and drinking and just do the cocaine. If you train a rat to press a lever for cocaine and then put it in an enriched environment, other rats to play with, toys placed to where it could still press the lever for the cocaine, it may press the lever occasionally, but not as frequently as its counterpart in the dull environment. These findings were a big deal in the behaviorism world because they put a lot of previous results in context and help explain the link between poverty and drug use. I like that it literally takes people in a lab to come to these conclusions. Like you mean if I had money and I had access to other things to do, I wouldn't need to worry about these drugs, these escapes. If I had the money to really escape, I wouldn't have to buy a drug escape. We need to do more studies. Okay.
We need to stand in front of mirrors while in a dimly lit room.
Hey, look, dimly lit room mirror time is like the takeaway of this list, okay? Before you get upset and go, man, this list wasn't very good. Remember, you got that mirror concept from this list. I didn't even know that. And now I'm as excited as you might be. And to anybody who got here late, if you stare into a mirror for 10 plus minutes in a room that's candle lit or dimly lit, apparently you'll start to hallucinate. Do not try it without somebody on deck, or just look away if it gets too real. Number 5, split brain studies. One example, by providing differing information to each hemisphere of the brain in split brain individuals, those with severe corpus callosum, meaning there's no communication between these two hemispheres, they found that the people would actually physically grab their hand and try to make the other hand if they saw it making a mistake. Wow. Basically, each side of the brain controls one side of your body, and in a split brain, people can actually make both sides display a disagreement with one another, which is pretty insane if you think about it. I'm sure there have been Twilight Zone episodes that spooky. Mallory says, what would you hallucinate, ghosts? Depends on the person. Remember, I am not advising any of you try this. Do this at your own discretion. Listener discretion is advised. But people have been known to see whatever it is that their brain can concoct. So you gotta, I don't know, man. Go with whomever your god may be on this one. And if it's me, then just be careful. Number 4, Solomon's Ash experiment on conformity. He set up a test wherein he would show 3 lines of different lengths to 5 or 6 individuals. They would have to state which line was the longest of the 3. The thing is, only the last individual was the participant, and the others are actors paid to answer in a specific manner. For the first few questions, they choose the correct answer, but later on they start choosing the incorrect answer. The participants are conflicted as to whether they will say the correct answer or conform to the wrong answer, as to not be judged by others or due to self-doubt of their own answers. In the end, most do conform. It's really interesting since it shows how powerful conformity is in the face. Wait a minute. Why does it say Bear Hunter donated $1, but on the side there's a super chat for $5 from Angram? Thank you to Bear Hunter, but thank you to Angram. Okay, well, the super chat came through later. That's
You're
very
awesome,
strange.
Sile. Smiley face.
Well, thank you, Angram. I appreciate this donation, and I appreciate the strange timing where both of you did it at the same time, unless maybe they took a while to get through. Toad the Awesome just subscribed. Thank you, Toad. Man, it's really interesting since it shows how powerful conformity is in the face of doubt, up to the point that some even question their own sanity during the test. They're paid actors, though, so they're paid and they won't even follow what they're told based on the conformity. Another variation of the experiment also had interesting results. It had the same setup with 5 individuals, with the last person being the participant. However, this time some of the actors say the wrong answer, while one actor says the correct answer. There was an increase in the participants who would choose the correct answer and avoid conformity, and it shows how much doubt one person can have on oneself when alone, but be brought right back to self-confidence when they find outside support. What a bunch of motherfucking sheep. You know what I'm talking about? Don't be that motherfucker. Don't let your peers come out of nowhere and be like, oh man, well, all the people I know are all about this. You know how many people are on Facebook right now? And they all dumb as hell, so don't let it be you. Linda, Stripes, Chuckster, it's nice to see you all. You guys are the true chosen ones of the stream. I didn't know Chuck wasn't a mod here. That's interesting. I guess Chuck's a mod now, baby. Eva is saying thighs are great. I wonder if she meant things or if she genuinely meant thighs.
Someone said thighs. Thick thighs save lives.
Are they talking about you? Y'all talking about Dia? Typical. How do y'all know what Dia's thighs look like? Unbelievable.
Thick thighs save lives, so that is true.
As we reach the top 3 on this list of 25 psychological experiments with great results, number 3 says, one time I participated in paid research, and I was basically tricked into thinking that I was intoxicated. I was placed in a room with 2 other people and were instructed to drink vodka with cranberry juice over a period of time while we socialized. After we drank, I was placed in a room where I had to read some flashing words on a computer screen. I felt pretty drunk at this point. When the researcher came back into the room, he gave me my car keys and said I was never actually given alcohol. He briefly told me that because I was anticipating drinking for this experiment, that my brain had tricked me into feeling the effects of being inebriated. I immediately snapped out of it and was completely amazed at how I felt. Isn't that interesting? I can tell you 1 time. I can tell you 2 times. But if you tell you're gonna get drunk, maybe you get drunk. I appreciate that donation. Levitating. Thank you. I'm sorry it's not popping up as quickly as it should be. There it is.
Bing bong style.
It's like I have to roast it before it says anything. So, as long as it actually reads it, I appreciate it. I appreciate the super chat. Look at your pretty face levitating. Stripes.
This is my first time seeing you live.
Oh my God, Stripes. Thank you for that donation. And why you gotta lie in the stream chat? For the sake of this, I'm not gonna call you out. Let's applaud Stripes on her first time seeing me live. Even though the the voiceover just said live. Because live and live are spelled the same way. English, folks. What do you want? What do you want from that bot? She contextually cannot decipher or discern the context of which word you want used. Stripes, that's a bit insane. A quick bit of enlightenment for anybody who may be interested. Stripes is interested in establishing a book club that will roll out in the manner of a live stream podcast. So what she wants me to do is to take a book and start reading it for a podcast. And she's putting her money where her mouth is. So look forward to that in the future. I'm not sure if I'll do that here or on Twitch, But if enough people are interested, we can set it up wherever the hell makes more sense. Thank you to all of you again. Let's continue up this list. Number 2, hedonic adaptation. Put simply, a person who had just won the lottery and another person who had just been paralyzed took a survey to measure their life contentment. Obviously, it was high and low, respectively. However, they both took the same survey a year later and both scored similarly. The point being that regardless what happened to you in life, good or bad, you will always adapt and spend most of your life feeling neutral. Nice. Someone says this is interesting. I never thought about this. And someone else goes on to say, there was a study I read about a few years ago that says people's overall happiness is either set at a young age or just kind of innate. You tend to be happy or unhappy regardless of your situation. It kind of measures well with what I've observed. I've known incredibly well-to-do people and incredibly poor people, which is saying he's known rich people and people in poverty. Happiness doesn't seem to correlate to that a lot from my experience, but maybe I'm just looking for an excuse. Damn, Nat. I appreciate this. I wonder if that's Chuckster's Nat. And you guys got to deal with that now because Nat is stream boss. Y'all let her steal it from you like that? I don't think you guys noticed. I don't think you guys noticed that stream boss was hanging on by a thread. Y'all let Nat roll in here. She's now stream queen. A round of applause for Nat. Curvy Nat. Wow. Wow. Wonderful. I thank you again, Nat. You're a scholar and a saint. What does Stripe say? I'm still 6 minutes behind, so I can't see what you're all reacting to yet. Why don't you just jump to where we are live and then go back and watch the stream? Whatever. If we're at number 2 now, then we'll be, I think it is Nat. Well, I appreciate this, Nat. Is that Chuckster's Nat? If that's Chuckster's Nat, let me know. Let me know. For real, let me know if that's Chuckster's Nat. Yeah. Here we are. I think we're at number 1. Guys, I'm also going to ask you guys to tell me which list we should read tonight if I end up doing another one. Because there's like a spooky one, but I feel like people aren't going to take that seriously. And I haven't done a couple of lists in a couple of days, so hopefully there's a lot of source material to pull from. Number 1 on this list of 25 psychological experiments with great results reads, mice were put on 2 sides of a wall with a door in the middle. Only the right mouse could open the door. Slowly, they filled the left mouse's room with water, and eventually, when the right mouse saw them in danger, they opened the door. However, mice that had previously been put on the left side and were now on the right opened the door considerably faster because they knew how unpleasant it was to be in the other scenario. Well, if what you're saying is people are more emphatic for shit that they have personally been through, then why y'all need mice to prove this experiment? People are pieces of shit, and they need to exclusively have gone through what people are all about to feel for them, unless they're animals, in which case, that poor dog. What's the most awkward sexual experience? It can't be sexual, jeez. We just got back. So here's the one. It says, with all the talk of Sherlock or Holmes and Watson, what movies have you walked out on? Did people walk out of Holmes and Watson? Someone let me know if that's the case. And that aside, what I want to look at are what the top posts of the last week were. Tell me which one sticks out that you guys think I should read about 20 from. Let me know. What is a good weakness to mention at a job interview? Parents who knock on their kids' doors and then immediately open in the process. Anyway, what's your thought process? No, sorry. Then open anyway, what's your thought process? What's the most kind, beautiful thing you've overheard about yourself by accident? Lame. You were offered $10 million. Oh my God, I hate these. If you die today and the afterlife hands you a book that contains all the stats from your life, which stat do you look up first and why? What's the scariest thing that happened? Look, this is a spooky one I was talking about. What's the scariest thing that has happened to you in someone else's house? That's what I'm considering reading tonight. And what's the most hurtful thing you've ever heard by accident? Perfectly good product. Oh my God, somebody's licking my watch. With all the talk about Holmes and Watson. Guys, can we kind of just look through this? Yeah. With all the talk of Holmes and Watson, what movies have you walked out on? I want to know what was going on there. Chuckster says spooky, so I'm feeling like I'm doing that spooky list. Nat says yes, she is. Chuckster's Nat. I'm a mod that. Samantha says I'm on my phone and I'm watching this on my TV. My phone is a few seconds faster. I understand. Brianna says she wants spooky. Chuckster says spooky's cool. Look, if y'all are fine with it, I'll do the spooky one later tonight. But very quickly before we end this, I want to see what movies people walked out of. And I want to Google it really quick. Let me just... Holmes and Watson walk out? Yo! Is that true? Wow. Yo, it's at a 6%. So it's like a live-action Family Guy episode. And there's a reason Family Guy episodes are 20 minutes in length. Because any more of that garbage, you know, and you'd want to claw your eyes out. I mean, it's only slightly better than a laugh track laid on there, so you know exactly when the comedy hits you. Oh no. You'll be treated to an hour and a half of different versions of the same gag. What if insert modern thing somehow existed in Victorian times? It's the laziest possible punchline, if you can call it a punchline at all. Well, look. That's an aggregate score. So it's not just, you know, one table full of stuffy douches in coats going, I don't like this at all. It's everybody agreeing. Oh well. Why does Stripe say I'm live now? Oh, meaning that she's caught up to the stream. So guys, I love ya. Let me look at a couple of these. Fireproof starring Kirk Cameron. The only movie I've ever walked out on. Here's a brief rundown of what I was up against. Kirk Cameron plays local fireman Caleb Holt. His marriage is on the brink of collapse, mostly due to his own shellfishness. He put SH in there, so here's hoping this isn't a pun about shellfish. For instance, rather than helping out his wife's parents with their towering medical bills, Caleb chooses instead to save his pennies for something more tangible and rewarding, a fishing boat. Look, with him saying shellfish now, it seems like a pun. As we continue. But that's not all. Caleb also whacks off to internet porn at a rate which his wife finds completely unacceptable. Making matters worse, he doesn't even diddle in private. Instead, Caleb jerks it, usually using the family desktop located in their living room. Fully clothed and right out in the open, like it's 1995. Despite the chronic masturbatory habits, however, Caleb is puzzled as to why his wife is being such a boner. Caleb is a fireman after all. He gets respect just about everywhere he goes, yet he receives none from his shrill wife. I suppose I can sort of see where he's coming from. She eats the last bagel, doesn't save him any leftover pizza, fails to go grocery shopping, and leaves smelly candles burning even after she leaves the room. The cherry on top is that as long as Caleb continues to beat off to internet smut, she will not make sex with him. Talk about a chicken and egg situation. What is this? It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. I could easily have skipped this post. Yo, is Vargas posting again? Hey, look, I'm actually a little bit scared. Because what made me do this on stream? This is scary to me. I'm not reading all this. You know what the worst part was? Vargas used to turn some of his entries into like a really shitty recipe for like something mundane. Oh. Eventually things come to a head. Caleb and his wife have an ugly screaming match. This is the high point to an otherwise dull film. Kirk Cameron pulls off. Get it? The chronic masturbator in the midst of a hissy to perfection. I've never seen such a range from him in any other performance. Either he tapped into a bottomless abyss of resentment stemming from his lackluster post-Growing Pains career, or he went full Daniel Day-Lewis in preparation for this scene. Probably a little of both. Following the meltdown, Caleb's marriage looks to be on the outs. But then his dad gives him a book called The Love Dare. Sadly, the title is misleading. I was hoping it was some sort of Kama Sutra. I dare you to stick it in the vegetable. Why did you walk out, Vargas? Get me to it. Sadly, it's not that kind of movie. The book turns out to be a how-to guide for saving one's marriage through the judicious application of Christian life pro tips. My guess is the author has never heard of a boxed wine. So, each day Caleb follows the guidance of the book. He calls his wife and attempts to talk to her. He asks her how she is, and if she needs him to pick up shit on his way home. He gets her pitiful flowers and things of the variety. His wife sees through it, though. I guess perfunctory support and nearly dead tulips can only go so far towards helping your wife forget finding young anal cream pie ginger young 720p. Seriously, she needs to be young in the family PC's search history browser. Can you imagine? Seriously, she needs to be young? Like you're leveling with the search browser? Look, bro, I'm gonna need a little bit of that young cream pie. Ginger, too. He wrote young twice. 3 times. Couldn't go for that full 1080, though. Okay, that's about where I walked out on Fireproof. I just couldn't sit there anymore. Ironically, I decided spanking it to internet smut was a better use of my own time. I then queued up a video featuring a young lady. Come on, man. At the end of the day, I'd probably give the movie 3 stars out of 70. And before anyone suggests it, it is not because I dislike Christian movies. On the contrary, I thought heaven was real and was pretty good. No, wait, I thought Heaven is Real was pretty good. I've never heard of that movie. Let's check that out real quick. Heaven is Real is a movie starring... Yeah. This is a name that it seems like you've kind of heard before, right? Right? Maybe. Thomas Hayden Church. He's been in, well, he was in Spider-Man 3. Who did he play? Let's check it out. Come on. Who is Thomas Hayden Church? The Sandman. What? He was the Sandman. Why do you care, Kyle? As we go back to this ridiculous entry, not to mention The Passion of the Christ was the date movie of 2004. Wow, man. He just keeps going. I'm not about it. And I didn't know that Vargas was still at it. 9 hours ago. 10 hours ago. 4 days ago. He's posting again. I'm gonna have to read some of Vargas's posts 25 days ago. Okay, for about a month it looks like. Look, expect a Vargas listing coming. I love you all to death. You'll see me again soon. Who the hell is Kiel? Okay? I love you guys. And, you'll see me for a real list in time. I was just kind of testing out the capacity of YouTube's live streaming wiggly woms right now. I love you guys. Live your life. Do what you need to do. And you'll see me tonight. Boy.